Alright, I got the royalty-free, spooky ambient music playing. I got the stuff and the setups and the... Yep. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the Crap-a-Dime. Dime-a-crap. What is going on with the audio already? Copyright... Let's see. Hold on. Clown emoji. Copyright-free creepy music. Quote, haunted by... Ross Bugden, Canadian flag. What does this sound like? Anyways, yes. Okay, so what do I have planned for tonight? What I have planned is, first, I'm gonna read some miscellaneous creepypasta stuff, something or other stuff. There we go. Something or other stuff, and after that, probably play World of Horror, because that's what I do every year. Sorry, my brain's kind of scattered. I just got back from a Halloween thing. Okay. We're going to start with a dramatic reading of Mandor Handhook Car Door. As this little thing down here at the bottom of the screen says, the infamous Mandor Handhook Car Door legend. Okay. Man and girl go out to drive under moonlight. They stop at a side of road. He turn to his girl and say, "Baby, I love you very much."
"What is it, honey?"
"Our car is broken down. I think the engine is broken. I'll walk and get some more fuel."
"Okay, I'll stay here and look after our stereo. There have been news report of stereos being stolen."
"Good idea. Keep the doors locked no matter what." "I love you, sweaty." So the guy left to get full for the car. After 2 hours, the girls say,
"Where is my baby? He was supposed to be back by now."
Then the girl hear a scratching sound and voice say, "Let me in." The girl doesn't do it, and then after a while, she goes to sleep. The next morning, she wakes up and finds her boyfriend still not there. She gets out to check, and Mandor Handhook Car Door. That's the... I was gonna have like a soundboard, and I don't, so I'm making my own sound. Okay, that is the classic tale of Mandor Handhook Car Door. Oh, there's the sting. So you're with your honey, and you're making out, when the phone rings. You answer it, and the voice is, "What are you doing with my daughter?" You tell your girl, and she say,
"My dad is dead."
"Then who was phone?" Okay. So scary. I hope y'all are ready for like the spooks and the scares, because it's gonna get scary in here. Okay, here we go. Humans can lick too, and I'm going to zoom way in on it. And this song is not matching the ambiance. I'm gonna ambient space synth music for kids. Let's see. Here we go. Humans can lick too. This song isn't working for me either. Halloween Chaser. Halloween Chaser. The scariest thing you've ever heard. A 13-year-old girl was left home alone one night when her parents went out for a meal with friends. The parents thought that she was too old for a babysitter, so they decided she could stay home alone as long as she locked all the windows and doors as soon as they left. Usually, she would have objected to being left home alone. However, her parents had bought her a beautiful German Shepherd dog just weeks before. The reason for such a gift was because the girl had been suffering from nightmares for years. Having the dog sleeping in her bedroom helped her feel at ease. When her parents left, she went around the house, making sure that all of the windows and doors were locked, as per her orders. She found that the basement window would not lock, so she locked the door leading into the house instead, and thought nothing more about it. The time was... Oh. The time was 8 p.m., and she was to go to bed at 10 p.m. This was enough time to watch a film, so she put on one of her favorites and settled down to watch it. The dog came and lay by her feet for the length of the film. Feeling happy that she'd coped well with being alone at night, she decided she better head up to bed. Turning off all of the lights on her way upstairs, she saw nothing unusual in her home. Once upstairs, she brushed her teeth and changed into her nightwear. She snuggled under her duvet and dropped her hand to the floor to feel for her dog. Sure enough, he assured her of his presence with a loving lick. She smiled and drifted to sleep. I'm actually hating the having the background music on. I'm sorry, my friends. It is going off. Okay. In the midst of the night, she was woken by a dripping sound. Rolling her eyes, she assumed she hadn't turned the tap off properly in the bathroom. Trying to ignore it, she felt for the dog and received the lick that she was used to receiving and fell back to sleep. Only about half an hour later, she woke again to the dripping, and annoyed that it kept waking her, she slumped to the bathroom to turn the tap off properly. Leaving the light off in order to not blind her eyes that were still half asleep, she tightened the tap and returned to her room. Feeling for her dog, she was greeted by the usual lick. Tremendously tired, she fell back to sleep and didn't wake until her parents returned home. The lights from the car shone through her bedroom window, and she was pleased that they were home. One thing shocked her, though. The dripping sound was still relentlessly going. Worried that perhaps the tap had broken, she walked to the bathroom to investigate fully. She turned on the light, and her scream pierced the silence. Her parents ran up the stairs to investigate her troubled scream, and they just stood staring into the bathroom. There was their beautiful dog, skinned and hanging in the shower, its blood dripping to the floor. On the mirror was the words, "Humans can lick too, my dear." Dun dun dun! Quite scary. I don't know about you, but I'm like terrified right now about how scary that just was. So, okay. Let's analyze. Okay? Let's analyze the furry gown. Blue, baby blue. Anyway, okay. So, in the midst of the night, she was woken by a dripping sound. Okay, so she assumed she didn't turn the water off properly, tried to ignore it. Probably should have gotten up then to turn it off, but, I get that. You don't want to get up. She woke up again to the dripping, so she went to the bathroom to turn it off all the way. Right, so she tightened it and went back to her room. At that point, I feel like she should have, after she tightened it and the dripping didn't go away, why would she get back in bed? Right, she didn't notice that it was still dripping until later, until her parents got home or whatever. Tired brain? Perhaps she's sleepy? Okay. Alright, fair enough, I suppose. If you need another well-known story, the girl with the ribbon around her neck. Oh, yeah! Eyeless Jack. Oh, yeah! Okay, yes, requests. This is what I like. Thank you, my friends. I can't think. I don't have a brain, and I don't know how to think. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Here we go. The Green Ribbon, retold by Alvin Schwartz. Once there was a girl named Jenny. She was like all the other girls, except for one thing. She always wore a green ribbon around her neck. There was a boy named Alfred in her class. Alfred liked Jenny, and Jenny liked Alfred. One day he asked her, "Why do you wear that ribbon all the time?" "I cannot tell you," said Jenny. But Alfred kept asking, "Why do you wear it?" And Jenny would say, "It is not important." Jenny and Alfred grew up and fell in love. One day, they got married. After their wedding, Alfred said, "Now that we are married, you must tell me about the green ribbon." "You still must wait," said Jenny. "I will tell you when the right time comes." Years passed. Alfred and Jenny grew old. One day, Jenny became very sick. The doctor told her she was dying. Jenny called Alfred to her side. "Alfred," she said, "now I can tell you about the green ribbon. Untie it, and you will see why I could not tell you before." Slowly and carefully, Alfred untied the ribbon, and Jenny's head fell off. Mic drop. That's the kind of story I feel like that would have probably haunted me. Maybe. When I was younger. When I was just a boy. Okay. We are currently reading creepypastas. And my name is Mitch. My name isn't actually Mitch. But I'm getting into character. I'm a bit of a method actor. Okay. Eyeless Jack creepypasta story. Hello. My name is Mitch. I'm here to tell you guys about an experience I had. I don't know if it was paranormal or whatever stupid words people use to describe supernatural phenomena, but after that thing visited me, I believe in that paranormal trash now. A week after I moved in with my brother Edwin, after my house was foreclosed, I finished unpacking. Edwin liked the idea of me moving in, since we had not seen each other for 10 years, so I was excited too. I soon fell asleep after I moved in. After that first week, I heard rustling noises coming from outside at about 1 in the morning. I thought it was a raccoon, so I ignored it and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I told Edwin about it, and he agreed. The next night, however, I thought I heard my window opening and a loud thump, as if something entered my room. I darted up and looked around my room, but I saw nothing. The next morning, Edwin dropped his coffee cup when he saw me. He held up a nearby mirror, and I saw myself. I had a large gash in my left cheek. After I was rushed to the hospital, my doctor told me that I must have been sleepwalking, but then he showed me something that made my blood turn cold. He lifted up my shirt to reveal a sewn-up incision where my kidneys were. I stared into his eyes, mine widening. You somehow lost your left kidney last night, my doctor told me. We don't know how though. Sorry, Mitch. This is always happening. You know, this happened to my buddy Eric. The next night was my breaking that wasn't your breaking point? The next night was my breaking point. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and dark blue mask, with no nose or mouth, staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. I grabbed the camera. So I was reading your comment. Man, this doctor is horrible for laughing at Mitch. I know, right? What a jerk. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and dark blue mask with no nose or mouth staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. The creature also had some black substance dripping from its sockets. I grabbed a camera from the nearby mantel and took a picture. Immediately after taking the shot, the creature lunged at me and tried to claw open my chest to get to my lungs. I stopped it by kicking it in the face. As I ran out of my room, I grabbed my wallet. I would need the money. I ran out of my brother's house into the night. I eventually ended up in the woods near Edwin's house and tripped on a rock. I fell unconscious and woke up in the hospital. My doctor, the same one who treated me before, entered the room. "I have good news and bad news, Mitch," my doctor started. "The good news is that you had minor injuries and your parents are going to pick you up." I sighed with relief. "The bad news is that your brother has been killed by some thing. Sorry." He has enough time to grab his wallet but not warn his brother. I was thinking the same thing. Like, you just left your brother to die. Friggin' F to Edwin, I guess. My parents took me back to Edwin's house to collect my remaining belongings, which I did. Upon entering my room, I was scared, but remained calm. I grabbed my camera and then stopped dead in my tracks. In the hallway leading to my room, I saw Edwin's body. What the hell? Why'd they leave that there? I saw Edwin's body and something small lying next to it. I retrieved it up and entered my parents' car, not mentioning Edwin's corpse. Dude, Mitch. I looked at the thing I had picked up and nearly vomited. I was holding my stolen, half-eaten kidney with some black substance on it. Okay. You just pick up a kidney. You don't even notice until you look at it. You get in your car and you look at it. It's like, oh, wow, that's my kidney. Didn't even have the... No, hold on. Eyeless Jack didn't even have the decency to finish his kidney. The hell? Few notes on this. One, that. Two, why is the brother's body just lying in the house? How did he know it was his kidney and not his brother's and then left on the floor? That's what I'm saying. Like, how did he know? Yeah, okay. So, did he have a psychic link with his kidney? I would like to think I have a psychic link with my kidneys. So, okay. They know that Edwin is dead. Right? They know Edwin is dead. The doctor knows. So somebody went and saw Edwin. They saw his corpse lying on the floor, and they decided, meh, I don't want to deal with that. Just left it. It's not even like a crime scene or anything. They're not even gonna like investigate that. Okay. I'm gonna become CinemaSins. I'm sorry, everybody, but it's what's happening. I'm like transmogrifying or whatever. Right. So they leave Edwin's body on the floor. Then Mitch also leaves Edwin's body on the floor. Like, poor Edwin. He gets murdered by like a creature, and his body is found, and they just leave it there. Like, the people who found it, I don't know who found it. Somebody found his body and left it there. And then his brother finds his body and also leaves it there. But he picks up the kidney. Nobody called the police. Exactly. Nobody called the police. Yes, I am creepypasta Sins, by the way. That's my new name. Nobody called the police. Nobody did anything. Nobody called a coroner. Make a coroner's report. Are we not going to have a funeral for Edwin? What's happening? Did everybody hate Edwin? Crappa Sins. Need to go to Crappa Confession to Crappa confess on my Crappa Sins. See, it's an active crime scene, and they let them go back in there and take stuff. Exactly. I think that's why, who knows that he's even dead, right? Is it just the doctor and Mitch? Do the parents even know? They don't know where his corpse is. If I got news that my son was dead, like, I would, ask, like, okay, where is he? Conspiracy theory, the doctor is Eyeless Jack. Ooh, that's a good one. Yes, he's got the surgical knowledge. I'm just going to assume he's a surgeon, even though there's no reason to assume that. He's got the surgical knowledge, the know-how. He killed Edwin, and then, I don't know. Don't ask how he gets eyes. I think he always has eyes. I think they're... You know how cats have retractable claws? I think this doctor's got retractable eyes. Or maybe like a slug or a snail. Creatures with actual retractable eyes. Yeah. This is an interesting story. I guess there's the rake. I don't remember ever actually reading the rake. I thought it was dumb when I was a kid. For some reason in my brain, I was like, there's the Slender Man kids and the Rake kids, and I was a Slender Man kid. And so I was like, who cares about all of that nonsense? All that bull shrimp. Look at that creepy guy. Are you scared yet? I'm pretty scared. Hand hook car door. That was the first one I did. You missed it. That was the first one I did. Sonic.exe, Ben Drowned, and Jeff the Killer are classics. Indeed. But I will counter that I feel like I remember Ben Drowned being really long. And then they did like a whole ARG with it and blah, blah, yada, yada, you know. And Sonic.exe and Jeff the Killer are like... Sorry, I just started thinking about the Wendy Williams video where it's a compilation of her talking about the killer, and it completely threw off my thought process. The killer is everywhere. No, you know what my favorite quote from her is? It's, "I have been aware of the killer since birth." Yeah, I might do Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Killed. Just so I can Jeff the Kill you. Jeff the Kriller. Jeff the Killer. We'll kill up Jeff. We'll queue up Jeff the Killer. Jeff the Cruller. Cruller is a type of bread. What? I'm gonna have to look that up. I've never heard of that. Cruller. Bread. Also, happy Halloween. Happy hallowed be thy ween, everybody. Oh, it's like a donut. For the people who don't know what it is, like me, it looks like a donut. Jeff the Kills You. Jeff the Friender. Sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. Estimated reading time 23 minutes on this. Okay, but that's for the whole. That's not for the story. That's for the whole like table of contents on this like info. Creepypasta story, please. Jeff the Killer. I do remember reading this one in like middle school. I want to get some like creepy music going that doesn't destroy my life. Mysterious Dark Piano Music for Videos, Shattered Glass by CJ Beards. Okay. Jeff the Killer. Excerpt from a local newspaper. Ominous unknown killer is still at large. After weeks of unexplained murders, the ominous unknown killer is still on the rise. After little evidence has been found, a young boy states that he survived one of the killer's attacks and bravely tells his story.
I had a bad dream, and I woke up in the middle of the night,
said the boy.
I saw that for some reason the window was open, even though I remember it being closed before I went to bed. I got up and shut it once more. Afterwards, I simply crawled under my covers and tried to get back to sleep. That's when I had a strange feeling, like someone was watching me.
I'm not doing voices for this. I looked up and nearly jumped out of my bed. There, in the little ray of light, illuminating from between my curtains, were a pair of two eyes. These weren't regular eyes. They were dark, ominous eyes. They were bordered in black and just plain out terrified me. That's when I saw his mouth, a long, horrendous smile that made every hair on my body stand up. The figure stood there, watching me. Finally, after what seemed like forever, he said it. A simple phrase, but said in a way only a madman could speak. He said, "Go to sleep." I let out a scream. That's what sent him at me. He pulled up a knife, aiming at my heart. He jumped on top of my bed. I fought him back. I kicked. I punched. I rolled around, trying to knock him off of me. That's when my dad busted in. The man threw the knife. It went into my dad's shoulder. The man probably would have finished him off if one of the neighbors hadn't alerted the police. They drove into the parking lot and ran towards the door. The man turned and ran down the hallway. I heard a smash like glass breaking. As I came out of my room, I saw the window that was pointing towards the back of my house was broken. I looked out it to see him vanish into the distance. I can tell you one thing, I will never forget that face, those cold, evil eyes, that psychotic smile. They will never leave my head. Police are still on the look for this man. If you see anyone that fits the description in this story, please contact your local police department. Jeff and... Oh. Well, we've switched perspectives, I think. Jeff and his family had just moved into a new neighborhood. His dad had gotten a promotion at work, and they thought it would be best to live in one of those fancy neighborhoods. Jeff and his brother Lou couldn't complain, though. A new, better house. What was not to love? As they were getting unpacked, one of their neighbors came by. "Hello," she said. "I'm Barbara. I live across the street from you. Well, I just wanted to introduce myself and to introduce my son." She turns around and calls her son over. "Billy, these are our new neighbors." Billy said hi and ran back to play in his yard. "Well," said Jeff's mom, "I'm Margaret, and this is my husband, Peter." "Peter?" And my two sons, Jeff and Lou. They each introduced themselves, and then Barbara invited them to her son's birthday. Jeff and his brother were about to object when their mother said that they would love to. When Jeff and his family are done packing, Jeff went up to his mom. "Mom, why would you invite us to some kid's party? If you haven't noticed, I'm not some dumb kid." "Jeff," said his mother, "we just moved here. We should show that we want to spend time with our neighbors. Now, we're going to that party, and that's final." Jeff started to talk, but stopped himself, knowing that he couldn't do anything. Whenever his mom said something, it was final. He walked up to his room and plopped down on his bed. He sat there looking at his ceiling when suddenly, he got a weird feeling. Not so much pain, but a weird feeling. He dismissed it as just some random feeling. He heard his mother call him down to get his stuff, and he walked down to get it. The next day, Jeff walked downstairs to get breakfast and got ready for school. As he sat there, eating his breakfast, he once again got that feeling. This time, it was stronger. It gave him a slight tugging pain, but he once again dismissed it. As he and Lou finished breakfast, they walked down to the bus stop. They sat there, waiting for the bus, and then, all of a sudden, some kid on a skateboard jumped over them, only inches above their laps. They both jumped back into surprise. "Hey, what the hell?" The kid landed and turned back to them. He kicked his skateboard up and caught it with his hands. The kid seemed to be about 12, 1 year younger than Jeff. He wears an Aeropostale shirt and ripped blue jeans. Well, it looks like we got some new meat." Suddenly, two other kids appeared. One was super skinny, and the other was huge. "Well, since you're new here, I'd like to introduce ourselves." Okay. "Over there is Keith." Jeff and Lou looked over to the skinny kid. He had a dopey face that you would expect a sidekick to have. "And he's Troy." They looked over at the fat kid. Come on, man. Who wrote this? I apologize. Talk about a tub of lard. This kid looked like he hadn't exercised since he was crawling. "And I," said the first kid, "am Randy." Now, for all the kids in this neighborhood, there is a small price for bus fare, if you catch my drift. Liu stood up, ready to punch the lights out of the kid's eyes, when one of his friends pulled a knife on him. Tisk, tisk, tisk. I had hoped you would be more cooperative, but it seems we must do this the hard way. The kid walked up to Liu and... yeah, I've got freaking honey in my mouth, and took his wallet out of his pocket. Jeff got that feeling again. Now it was truly strong, a burning sensation. He stood up, but Liu gestured him to sit down. Jeff ignored him and walked up to the kid. "Listen here, you little punk. Give back my bro's wallet or else." Randy put the wallet in his pocket and pulled out his own knife. "Oh? And what will you do?" Just as he finished the sentence, Jeff popped the kid in the nose. As Randy reached for his face, Jeff grabbed the kid's wrist and broke it. Freaking... he's going Super Saiyan. Randy screamed and Jeff grabbed the knife from his hand. Troy and Keith rushed Jeff, but Jeff was too quick. He threw Randy to the ground. Keith lashed out at him, but Jeff ducked and stabbed him in the arm. Keith dropped his knife and fell to the ground screaming. Troy rushed him too, but Jeff didn't even need the knife. He just punched Troy straight in the stomach and Troy went down. As he fell, he puked all over. Liu could do nothing but look in amazement at Jeff. "Jeff, how'd you..." was all he said. They saw the bus coming and knew they'd be blamed for the whole thing, so they started running as fast as they could. As they ran, they looked back and saw the bus driver rushing over to Randy and the others. As Jeff and Liu made it to school, they didn't dare tell what happened. All they did was sit and listen. Liu just thought of that. Okay. Just thought of that as his brother beating up a few kids, but Jeff knew it was more. It was something scary. As he got that feeling, he felt how powerful it was. The urge to just hurt someone. Not a pain, but a feeling. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He didn't like how it sounded, but he couldn't help feeling happy. He felt that strange feeling go away and stay away for the entire day of school. Even as he walked home due to the whole thing near the bus stop, and how now he probably wouldn't be taking the bus anymore, he felt happy. When he got home, his parents asked him how his day was, and he said, in a somewhat ominous voice, "It was a wonderful day." Next morning, he heard a knock at his front door. He walked down to find 2 police officers at his door, his mother looking back at him with an angry look. Yeah. What is this song playing now? Skip it. Give me electro spooky. Spooky electronic. Spooky drum and bass. Open OBS. Okay. "Jeff, these officers tell me that you attacked 3 kids, that it wasn't regular fighting, and that they were stabbed. Stabbed, son!" Jeff's gaze fell to the floor, showing his mother that it was true. "Mom, they were the ones who pulled the knives on me and Liu." "Son," said one of the cops, "we found 3 kids, 2 stabbed, 1 having a bruise on his stomach, and we have witnesses proving that you fled the scene. Now, what does that tell us?" Jeff knew it was no use. He could say him and Liu had been attacked, but then there was no proof it was not them who attacked first. They couldn't say that they weren't fleeing, because truth be told, they were. So Jeff couldn't defend himself or Liu. "Son, call down your brother." Jeff couldn't do it, since it was he who beat up all the kids. "Sir, it was me." What is this, huh? "I was the one who beat up the kids. Liu tried to hold me back, but he couldn't stop me." The cop looked at his partner and they both nod. "Well, kid, looks like a year in juvie." "Wait," says Liu. They all look up to see him holding a knife. The officers pulled their guns and locked them on Liu. "Good lord, Liu?" "It was me. I beat up those little punks. Have the marks to prove it." He lifted up his sleeves to reveal cuts and bruises, as if he was in a struggle. "Son, just put the knife down," said the officer. Liu held up the knife and dropped it to the ground. He put his hands up and walked over to the cops. "No, Liu, it was me. I did it." Jeff had tears running down his face. "Huh, poor bro, trying to take the blame for what I did. Well, take me away." The police led Liu out to the patrol car. "Liu, tell them it was me. Tell them. I was the one who beat up those kids." Jeff's mother put her hands on his shoulders. "Please, Jeff, you don't have to lie. We know it's Liu. You can stop." Jeff watched. Sorry, I'm listening to like spooky, scary, like dubstep noises, and it's like completely distracting me. Halloween pipe organ. Let's try that. We're almost done with this playlist. Yes. Jeff watched helplessly as the cop car speeds off with Liu inside. A few minutes later, Jeff's dad pulled into the driveway, seeing Jeff's face and knowing something was wrong. Son, what is it?" Jeff couldn't answer. His vocal cords were strained from crying. Instead, Jeff's mother walked his father inside to break the bad news to him as Jeff wept in the driveway. After an hour or so, Jeff walked back into the house, seeing that his parents were both shocked, sad, and disappointed. He couldn't look at them. He couldn't see how they thought of Liu and it was his fault. He just went to sleep, trying to get the whole thing off his mind. 2 days went by, with no word from Liu at JDC, Juvenile Detention Center? No friends to hang out with, nothing but sadness and guilt. That is, until Saturday, when Jeff is woken up by his mother, with a happy, sunshiny face. What? "Jeff, it's the day," she said as she opened up the curtains and let light flood into his room. "What? What's today?" asked Jeff as he stirs awake. "Why, it's Billy's party." He was now fully awake. "Mom, you're joking, right? You don't expect me to go to some kid's party after..." There was a long pause. "Jeff, we both know what happened. I think this party could be the thing that brightens up the past days. Now, get dressed." Jeff's mother walked out of the room and downstairs to get ready herself. He fought himself to get up. He picked out a random shirt and pair of jeans and walked downstairs. He saw his mother and father all dressed up, his mother in a dress and his father in a suit. He thought, why would they ever wear such fancy clothes to a kid's party? "Son, is that all you're going to wear?" said Jeff's mom. "Better than wearing too much," he said. His mother pushed down the feeling to yell at him and hid it with a smile. "Wait, I thought this was from Jeff's perspective." "What? Okay." "Now, Jeff, we may be overdressed, but this is how you go if you want to make an impression," said his father. Jeff grunted and went back up to his room. "I don't have any fancy clothes," he yelled downstairs. "Just pick out something," called his mother. He looked around in his closet for what he would call fancy. He found a pair of black dress pants he had for special occasions, and an undershirt. He couldn't find a shirt to go with it, though. He looked around and found only striped and patterned shirts, none of which go with dress pants. Huh? Big disagree, but anyway. Finally, he found a white hoodie and put it on. You're telling me striped and patterned shirts are worse to go with the dress pants than a white hoodie for fanciness? Whatever. "You're wearing that?" they both said. His mother looked at her watch. "Oh, no time to change. Let's just go," she said as she herded Jeff and his father out the door. They crossed the street over to Barbara and Billy's house. They knocked on the door, and it appeared that Barbara, just like his parents, were overdressed. As they walked inside, all Jeff could see were adults, no kids. "The kids are out in the yard, Jeff. How about you go and meet some of them?" said Barbara. Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. This is so long, with so much unnecessary stuff in it. Like, hello? Who cares? What is all of this? Jeff walked outside to a yard full of kids. They were running around in weird cowboy costumes and shooting each other with plastic guns. He might as well be standing in a Toys R Us. Suddenly, a kid came up to him and handed him a toy gun and hat. "Hey, wanna play?" he said. "Ah, no, kid. I'm way too old for this stuff." The kid looked at him with that weird puppy dog face. "Pwee," said the kid. "Fine," said Jeff. He put on the hat and started to pretend to shoot at the kids. At first, he thought it was totally ridiculous, but then he started to actually have fun. It might not have been super cool, but it was the first time he had done something that took his mind off of Liu. So he played with the kids for a while until he heard a noise. A weird, rolling noise. Then it hit him. Randy, Troy, and Keith all jumped over the fence on their skateboards. Jeff dropped the fake gun and ripped off the hat. Randy looked at Jeff with a burning hatred. "Hello. Jeff, is it?" he said. "We have some unfinished business." Jeff saw his bruised nose. "I think we're even. I beat the crap out of you, and you got my brother sent to JDC." Randy got an angry look in his eyes. Oh no, I don't go for even. I go for winning. You may have kicked our asses that one day, but not today. As he said that, Randy rushed at Jeff. They both fell to the ground. Randy punched Jeff in the nose, and Jeff grabbed him by the ears and headbutted him. Jeff pushed Randy off of him, and both rose to their feet. Kids were screaming, and parents were running out of the house. Troy and Keith both pulled guns out of their pockets. No one interrupts, or guts will fly, they said. Randy pulled a knife on Jeff and stabbed it into his shoulder. Jeff screamed and fell to his knees. Randy started kicking him in the face. After 3 kicks, Jeff grabs his foot and twists it, causing Randy to fall to the ground. Jeff stood up and walked towards the back door. Troy grabbed him. Need some help? He picks Jeff up by the back of the collar and throws him through the patio door. As Jeff tries to stand, he is kicked down to the ground. Randy repeatedly starts kicking Jeff until he starts to cough up blood. Come on, Jeff, fight me. He picks Jeff up and throws him into the kitchen. Randy sees a bottle of vodka on the counter and smashes the glass over Jeff's head. Good God. Fight! He throws Jeff back into the living room. Come on, Jeff, look at me. Jeff glances up, his face riddled with blood. I was the one who got your brother sent to JDC, and now you're just gonna sit here and let him rot in there for a whole year? You should be ashamed. Jeff starts to get up. Oh, finally, you stand and fight. Jeff is now to his feet, blood and vodka on his face. Once again, he gets that strange feeling, the one in which he hasn't felt for a while. Finally, he's up, says Randy as he runs at Jeff. That's when it happens. Something inside Jeff snaps. His psyche is destroyed. All rational thinking is gone. All he can do is kill. He grabs Randy and pile drives him to the ground. He gets on top of him and punches him straight in the heart. The punch causes Randy's heart to stop. As Randy gasps for breath, Jeff hammers down on him. Punch after punch, blood gushes from Randy's body until he takes one final breath and dies. Everyone is looking at Jeff now. The parents, the crying kids, even Troy and Keith. Although they easily break from their gaze and point their guns at Jeff. Jeff sees the guns trained on him and runs for the stairs. As he runs, Troy and Keith let out fire on him, each shot missing. Jeff runs up the stairs. He hears Troy and Keith follow up behind. As they get out of their final rounds of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. As they let out their final round of bullets, Jeff ducks into the bathroom. He grabs the towel rack and rips it off the wall. Troy and Keith race in, knives ready. Troy swings his knife at Jeff, who backs away and bangs the towel rack into Troy's face. Troy goes down hard, and now all that's left is Keith. He's more agile than Troy, though, and ducks when Jeff swings the towel rack. He dropped the knife and grabbed Jeff by the neck. He pushed him into the wall. A thing of bleach fell down on top of him from the shelf. It burnt both of them, and they both started to scream. Jeff wiped his eyes as best he could. He pulled back the towel rack and swung it straight into Keith's head. As he lay there, bleeding to death, he let out an ominous smile. And no one stopped him. Well, you can't stop him. He's Jeff the Killer. You can't stop Jeff the Killer. What's so funny? Asked Jeff. Keith pulled out a lighter and switched it on. What's funny, he said, is that you're covered in bleach and alcohol. Jeff's eyes widened as Keith threw the lighter at him. As soon as the flame made contact with him, the flames ignited the alcohol in the vodka. The alcohol in the vodka. While the alcohol burned him, the bleach bleached his skin. Jeff let out a terrible screech as he caught on fire. He tried to roll out the fire, but it was no use. The alcohol had made him a walking inferno. He ran down the hall and fell down the stairs. Everybody started screaming as they saw Jeff, now a man on fire, dropped to the ground, nearly dead. The last thing Jeff saw was his mother and the other parents trying to extinguish the flame. That's when he passed out. So far, there's nothing supernatural about him. He's just a teenager. Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit. He's like a shonen teenager, you know? He's like Naruto. He's basically Naruto. He's like Goku. He's like, you know, he's got the latent abilities. When Jeff woke up, he had a cast wrapped around his face. When Jeff woke up, he had a cast wrapped around his face. He couldn't see anything, but he felt a cast on his shoulder and stitches all over his body. He tried to stand up, but he realized that there was some tube in his arm, and when he tried to get up, it fell out, and a nurse rushed in. "I don't think you can get out of bed just yet," she said as she put him back in the bed and reinserted the tube. Ugh, reinserted the tube. Jeff sat there with no vision, no idea of what his surroundings were. Finally, after hours, he heard his mother. "Honey, are you okay?" she asked. Jeff couldn't answer, though. His face was covered, and he was unable to speak. "Oh, honey, I have great news. After all the witnesses told the police that Randy confessed of trying to attack you, they decided to let Liu go." This made Jeff almost bolt up, stopping halfway, remembering the tube coming out of his arm. "He'll be out by tomorrow, and then you two will be able to be together again." How did maybe he just took martial arts lessons. Maybe. How'd the IV fall out so easily? Excuse me. It's not an IV. It's a tube. Thank you very much. Jeff's mother hugs Jeff and says her goodbyes. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. His family members were all there to see it, what he would look like. As the doctors unwrapped the bandages from Jeff's face, everyone was on the edge of their seats. They waited until the last bandage holding the cover over his face was almost removed. Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. These doctors in these have such terrible bedside manner. "Let's hope for the best," said the doctor. He quickly pulls the cloth, letting the rest fall from Jeff's face. Jeff's mother screams at the sight of his face. Okay, you know what? That's worse than what the doctor said, actually. Liu and Jeff's dad stare awestruck at his face. "What? What happened to my face?" Jeff said. He rushed out of bed and ran to the bathroom. He looked in the mirror and saw the cause of the distress. His face, it's horrible. His lips were burnt to a deep shade of red. His face was turned into a pure white color, and his hair singed from brown to black. This is not what burns look like. Oh yeah! Rushed out of bed, no more tube. I guess they took it out. Tubeless. That feel when you're tubeless. Of course, yeah, they didn't tape the tube. Well, it's not IV. It's tube. You don't tape tubes. That's not the etiquette. Also, it's been like a day and a half. The wounds wouldn't be healed enough to take off the bandages. Shows how much attention you pay. The next couple of weeks were those where Jeff was visited by his family. Then came the day where his bandages were to be removed. You just failed the reading comprehension test. I'm sorry. Yeah, you should be sorry. Yeah. This is not what happens when you're burned, but, you know, whatever. He slowly put his hand to his face. It had a sort of leathery feel to it now. He looked back at his family, then back at the mirror. "Jeff," said Liu. "It's not that bad." "Not that bad," said Jeff. "It's perfect." His family was equally surprised. Jeff started laughing uncontrollably. His parents noticed that his left eye and hand were twitching. Jeff? Are you okay?" "Okay? I've never felt more happy." "Look at me. This face goes perfectly with me." He couldn't stop laughing. He stroked his face, feeling it, looking at it in the mirror. What caused this? Well, you may recall that... Come on. Well, you may recall that when Jeff was fighting Randy, something in his mind, his sanity, snapped. Now he was left as a crazy killing machine. That is, his parents didn't know. "Doctor," said Jeff's mom, "is my son all right? You know, in the head?" What a thing to ask right in front of him. "I'm a music major, not an English major." "Okay, well, didn't you have to take English classes with a major, though?" "I'm pretty sure you did." "Oh, yes, this behavior is typical for patients that have taken very large amounts of painkillers. If his behavior doesn't change in a few weeks, bring him back here, and we'll give him a psychological test. Oh, thank you, doctor. Jeff's mother went over to Jeff. Jeff, sweetie, it's time to go. Jeff looks away from the mirror, his face still formed into a crazy smile. "'Kay, mommy." He took his mother took him by the shoulder and took him to get his clothes. "This is what came in," said the lady at the desk. Jeff's mom looked down to see the black dress pants and white hoodie her son wore. Now they were clean of blood and stitched together? They did what? They wouldn't do that. Who at the hospital's doing that? Also, they were burned. Jeff's mother led him to his room his hospital. Led him to his room and made him put his clothes on. Then they left, not knowing that that was their final day of life. Later that night, Jeff's mother woke to a sound coming from the bedroom. It sounded as if someone was crying. She slowly walked over to see what it was. When she looked into the bathroom, she saw a horrendous sight. Jeff had taken a knife and carved a smile into his cheeks. "Jeff, what are you doing?" asked his mother. Jeff looked over to his mother. "I couldn't keep smiling, Mommy. It hurt after a while. Now I can smile forever." Jeff's mother noticed his eyes, ringed in black. "Jeff, your eyes!" His eyes were seemingly never closing. "I couldn't see my face. I got tired and my eyes started to close. I burned out the eyelids so I could forever see myself, my new face." Jeff's mother slowly started to back away, seeing that her son was going insane. "What's wrong, Mommy? Aren't I beautiful?" "Yes, son," she said. "Yes, you are. Let me go get Daddy so he can see your face." She ran into the room and shook Jeff's dad from his sleep. "Honey, get the gun?" "Yo, dude. Get the gun? You see? No. You see your son who has just gone through a very traumatic event, self-harming, and your reaction is, honey, get the gun?
Okay.
She stopped as she saw Jeff in the doorway, holding a knife. "Mommy, you lied." That's the last thing they hear, as Jeff rushes them with a knife, gutting both of them. His brother Liu woke up, startled by some noise. He didn't hear anything else, so he just shut his eyes and tried to go back to sleep. As he was on the border of slumber, he got the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. He looked up before Jeff's hand covered his mouth. He slowly raised the knife, ready to plunge it into Liu. Liu thrashed here and there, trying to escape Jeff's grip. "Shh," Jeff said. "Just go to sleep." I have a lot of thoughts on this. But first I will check the chat. Last English class I had to take was like 3 semesters. I don't have to comprehend reading anymore. Okay. Stop questioning the plot holes in Jeff the Killer. Who do you think I am? Seen videos of people repairing cosplays caught in a house fire? Okay. Possible. We can't save him. Let's just put him down, honey. Let's just put him down. Exactly. It's like a horse with a broken leg. They're like, well, he's too far gone. Cox gun. Good lord. Hold on, where's the Jeff the Killer picture? It's gotta be on this page somewhere. Hey, there it is. There it is. I think I need to write an essay on the Jeff the Killer plot holes and inconsistencies. Hey, just a second ago you were like, oh, I don't need to the last time I took an English class was 3 semesters ago. I don't need to blah, 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 blah. Now you're saying you're going to write an essay. That's English class behavior. Me too, though. There's a lot to talk about here. I mean, many people have talked about Jeff the Killer. But, like, it's so long and for no reason. Like, 3/4 of the story is fluff, like filler, like useless information. Does not need to be there. In fact, I'd say the story doesn't even need to start until the final, like, until they go to the part. Yeah, this could have been 2 paragraphs. This could have been 2 paragraphs. And instead, here we are. We've been reading this for like a million years. Okay. I think that will wrap it up for the creepypastas. The creepypastas, because, good lord, that freaking destroyed me. That killed me. I was like zoning out while reading. Jeff the Killer is just so uninteresting. It's so uninteresting. One of the most popular, like, creepypasta stories of all time, and it's just, like, boring. Bring back Mandor Handhook Car Door. That's what I'm saying. Doctor has retractable eyes. How did it take off? It has to have been just the picture and the fandom, right? Like, the fandomification of it, which I'm not sure how that happened in the first place. But, you know, we were all edgy teenagers at one point. So true. So true. Okay, I'm going to play Vidya game now.